Rovers, and welcome to episode 2 of Be Prepared for Iceland. This is a continuation of episode 1 where we were talking about the packing list. There was so much information and so much that we covered that we had to split it into 2 videos. This is part 2.
So we're going to talk about some packing tips and tricks today. We've got Georgia and Kelsey with us. The Australian contingent have provided us with a packing list they've recommended. We're going to go through it and then talk about a couple of other little things that you can take. Sunglasses. Yes.
You need
Bring sunglasses.
Yeah. Not for the sun.
No, because at 11 o'clock at night, you will be needing sunglasses.
Or alternatively, if any of your hikes, especially people going on post tour, any of the hikes that you're going up in the glacier sort of atmosphere, snow is incredibly bright, ice is incredibly bright. So when you're hiking, having that glare sort of bounce back in your face is not too great. So having a pair of sunglasses, doesn't matter if they're fake Ray-Bans, but I recommend wraparound sort of sunglasses, similar to what Nick has here, because the glare will affect how you hike.
Some really cool looking ski ones or something.
Yeah, so suggest eye masks for sleeping because the sun's obviously not going to be down at the normal time it is for us, so.
And sunglasses are not comfortable to sleep in.
Yes.
No, they are not.
Clothes, of course, clothes are very important. Don't forget to bring your clothes. Scout uniform is probably the only necessity, I suppose.
What about tan pants? Do we need to do that?
Unless it is explicitly said in the lead up or someone asks a question on that Facebook group whether or not we can wear pants, and then we actually get an answer from the contingent team whether or not we take them, but we probably will have to take some variation of get ready.
Sunscreen, there are huge flies in Iceland, so bring a fly net to protect your face. Shorts, t-shirt, swimsuit, warm wool fleece underwear, long sleeves, shirts, long trousers, thermals are really good. Wool mixture socks, we'll get to the other socks that you want to talk about in just a second. Warm sweaters, rain jacket is important. Rain pants even, waterproof to about 5 millimeters. Poncho is definitely not useful, guys. You will need to fully protect yourself from rain. A warm hat, gloves, trousers for hiking, no jeans. Good and walked in hiking boots. Make sure that if you're buying new hiking boots now, break them in. But you're going to be so uncomfortable if you don't. Light shoes to wade into if you're doing any hiking, and sleeping mask. Again, as we said, sunrise will be about 4:30 a.m. every morning, if not earlier. Another thing that they recommend is a towel. Georgia, you've got a very small microfiber towel here for us.
Yeah, getting microfiber one that rolls down small, dries fast. It's going to be your best friend. It says to bring swimmers, even though it's going to be cold, but there is the hot pools where it will be like cold, but then we can hop into the hot springs and go swimming there. It's really good. Microfiber
towels are really good too when you're drying yourself. Most of the time you only need to just sort of go like that and all of the water is off. They come in very handy, and they pack down really small and dry very quickly. Kelsey, you've got some clothing items to talk about as well.
I do. So when you start looking for a raincoat and also like rain pants and all that sort of area of things, please don't do ponchos. Ponchos last for maybe like one occasion. If it's a really heavy downpour, then you're kind of screwed as well. If you walk into any like good outdoor sort of specialist stores, they will give you recommendations on where you're going. So just let them know, yeah, Iceland, so they can understand like it's rain, sleet, all this sort of things. Pretty much 4 seasons in a day. People from Melbourne are very used to that kind of stuff. But for when hiking, if you're gonna buy a jacket like this, so for example, this is a Gore-Tex jacket from Kathmandu. If you're gonna buy a jacket like this for hiking specifically, stay away from double layered materials. So there's an inside layer and also an external layer. The external layer is the Gore-Tex. But the reason why you want to stay away from a double layered material thing for hiking specifically is because as you walk, you're going to sweat and that material is going to rub. So it actually creates more friction in the body, and the jacket will actually wear down and the Gore-Tex will break in the long run. So it's not exactly that great for hiking. For just hanging around camp and being casual, this jacket's great. It's water resistant, windproof resistant, and it does keep you warm. So that's always nice. There's an awful lot of jackets that are also convertible, that you can get ones that are double layered, but you can remove the second layer, or they are actually specifically designed for hiking and also stationary moving. When it comes to rain pants, it's pretty much the same. You can get single layered waterproof pants, or you can get double layered ones as well. Same sort of principle again. So that's always good.
And Kelsey, you're a big proprietor of a special kind of sock.
Yes. So personally, when I go hiking, I use bamboo sort of formed base socks. And the reason for that is when you hike, obviously you sweat a lot. So the good thing about bamboo socks is they're incredibly soft. They're slightly thinner, but they'll do the same job as regular thick hiking socks. And they'll also absorb the sweat, which is, no one wants sweaty feet and smelly feet at the end of the day. So they are always good as well for that reason. Also with the thinnest bamboo socks, you'll also find if you're up in the alpine conditions or your feet are a little bit colder, you can put thermal socks on as your first layer and then chuck the hiking socks straight over the top.
Great idea. Awesome. Couple of miscellaneous things I feel we can talk about at the moment. Georgia, you've got a dry bag.
Yeah, so dry bags, packing cells are great to put your clothes in. I'm going to have one for dirty clothes, wet clothes and clean clothes. That way I know where everything is. It's not like mixing around, and then just have other things so I know what's in what. You can just pull the bag out, know where it is, and everything packs into your bag a lot better rather than rummaging through it. Yeah.
Not a bad idea. I know that's quite often what I do. When I go packing, when I go camping, I'm just like, I think this is, it smells clean. So not do that.
Yeah.
Use dry bags, you reckon?
Yeah, and if your bag was to get wet, everything inside it stays dry as well.
Fantastic. Kelsey, you've got a cool little trinket.
Yeah, so let's be real, one of the main concerns we all have when we go camping, especially out in the middle of nowhere, is power. How are we going to charge our phones? How are we going to charge lights? All this sort of stuff across the board thing. Don't have an example.
That's all right. Well, we can put a photo up of it.
Yeah, but Goal Zero is a really popular brand, and they do an awful lot with solar panel packs and everything else. They pack down quite compactly and really light, and you'll also find that they can charge items from anything from a laptop to a torch to a phone, and they only have to sit outside for maybe 5 or 6 hours in order to facilitate this. Another really cool thing is that you can get, again from Wild Earth, Gold Coast, you can get really cool lanterns and such that are solar powered. This one, for example, I only need to leave out in the sun for maybe 2 hours. If there's only 2 hours of sunlight a day, that's fine, because this will run for 15 hours on 2 hours worth of sunlight.
What happens if there's like only 2 hours of darkness?
Well then, even better. Then you've got a lot of power for those 2 hours.
Excellent.
So this actually inflates, and it's got 3 different settings. No, but this is really good. So you can get different sizes of this. This is one of the medium range lantern lights, but it has 3 different settings, and it goes up, has like the whole flashy thing, and then it turns off again. So these are really cool.
It's really handy, yeah.
Yeah, so you can just sort of hang that in your tent and be like, yeah, there's a light.
I suppose, compact and solar power would really be the way to go while we're in Iceland and the northern part of pre-tour if you're going on that as well.
It's been recommended that you don't take any of those little charger packs that you obviously have to plug into some sort of main access point in order to charge up. In the first place, it is better because there'll be pretty much none of that on site, and you'll be very lucky to find such facilities. So it is better if you look into invest for a solar panel.
One thing that's really important while we're out and about at the Moot, pre-tour and post-tour, is that we will be doing a lot of walking, a lot of hiking, checking out nature and that sort of stuff. In that case, hiking boots, very important. Kelsey?
Yeah, so
what can you tell us about?
Something about hike boots is that obviously, again, walk into any good outdoor store and they will give you a recommendation of what sort of hike boots you need. These boots are George's, so she obviously has gone and put a lot of effort into them. They're obviously well used and well loved.
They don't fit me.
Personal recommendations I have for hike boots is when you go in, obviously go in with the mind that these do need to do multi-terrains. So you'll be walking on regular roads and then also potentially on up hills, up on rocky, sludgy areas, marshland, and also potentially across glaciers if you do end up doing a hike as such.
And lava. Bit of lava.
Yeah, sure, if we get a volcano eruption.
There'll be a bit of lava around, yeah.
A good thing about these hike boots as an example is the tread. These are multi-terrain treads, so as you can see they're a little bit more raised, they're not exactly flat. There's a lot of there's a lot more movement in them, including in the heel and the front. They're not exactly a flat ridge thing, and these are good for example if Georgia ends up walking on snow, she'll find a lot better grip in this sort of regard. Another positive is that these are Gore-Tex boots. So Gore-Tex, once again, similar to the jackets and the rainwear that you can get, means that they're semi-water resistant. I would recommend in the lead up to going to World Moot or any sort of event where you're using hike boots a lot is to buy that waterproof spray and spray them a couple of layers. Usually takes about 24 hours for those layers to dry properly. So they're obviously that's also another good investment. Other boots, if you can't get Gore-Tex boots, you can also get another brand, which is the NGX, NGX is just another form of Gore-Tex. It's similar sort of make, it's just not called Gore-Tex. It will do the same job, and Kathmandu is one of those brands that uses a lot of NGX products. Macpac will also do NGX, but it also does an awful lot of Gore-Tex, so that's always good. For people going on post tour as well, you'll find that in the Candlestick Valley, they won't let you hike unless you have ankle support. So please don't buy the boots that have the low sort of ankle support thing. Yes, it's probably fashionable to have those sort of boots, but it'll do yourself and your legs and your ankles a lot bigger favors if you do have the high ankle support.
And I mean, that would be sort of not just in for when you're at on post tour as well. That could be an issue in other European countries as well, possibly?
Potentially, yeah. I
So
mean, obviously before you hike, check out the restrictions on all of your gear.
So it's better to be safer and just go for this. It's better for you in the long run anyway.
It is, yeah. It's a much better investment for your health and well-being.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
You also want to look at whether it's leather or synthetic as well, because synthetic can be more waterproof, but leather can mold to your foot a lot better, and then you can put the spray over the top of it. That's why I went with the leather.
Leather's also good, like they'll last longer, so you'll find that synthetic boots will only last for maybe 10 years or so, where leather ones, depending on how you use them, of course, may last maybe 15 to 20. A downside to leather, however, is that when it gets wet, it does get very, very heavy, so that's obviously another thing you've got to weigh up when purchasing your boots in the lead up.
Basic facilities will be available at the scout centres you're staying at for washing clothes. Please be aware that no alcohol or illegal substances are allowed on the site or to be used during the moot, in accordance to the Icelandic law on the operations of youth organisations and the practice of Icelandic scouting. There is a zero tolerance policy in this matter. Anyone in possession of alcohol or illegal substances will be immediately expelled from the moot. So that's all the time we have for Be Prepared for Iceland for this episode. I want to thank Georgia and Kelsey for coming on and talking about all this gear. It's a lot to take in, but I think we'll be better for it afterwards, and we'll have a really good time when we're overseas.
If you have any questions about gear that we haven't obviously raised in this little presentation, just let us know or make a comment.
So I guess we'll see you guys in Iceland.
Yeah, sounds good.
Awesome.
And that's all for the packing list. Don't forget to subscribe to the Queensland Rovers YouTube channel to keep up to date with all of the videos that we're posting. You can find us online at Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, all at QLD Rovers. And for more information, visit www.qldrovers.org.au. The next episode of Be Prepared for Iceland, we will cover what to expect from a World Rover Moot. I'm Nick Linde from Roverline, and remember to always be prepared.